You know a video is going to be instantly disliked by a majority of people when you have to start it off by paraphrasing, I like this thing. This thing being superbreak. Or what it used to be with Firefly, and when it actually meant, dealing with the toughness bar and whatnot. Unfortunately, you probably see the character on the screen. That's what we're talking about. Vidalia. And she's basically confirmed what I was worried about the whole time, and Hoyoverse just haven't confirmed yet. And that was Super Break is their failure. Or Super Break is a failure, I should say. It's not the biggest one. Or, actually, no, it might be. Ah, God. Super Break might just be HSR's biggest failure. Now, why do I say that? Well, if we take a look at Vidalia, we go into it. One of her major things is, I believe it's the skill, yes. You create a zone, and while the zone lasts for 3 turns, increases all allies' weakness break efficiency by 50%, and any toughness reduction that isn't weakness broken becomes super break damage. Now, super break damage's whole thing is, when the enemy is weakness broken, you can do the thingy. Yeah, look. Super break damage increases a higher break effect, higher toughness reduction of the attack, and higher character levels. So, the big problem is, you can just ignore that now. You ignore the key component of what made Super Break, and that is breaking the enemy. So now you don't have to run a Super Break team. Any team can do Super Break. And while, yes, you might think that is a good thing, I'm here to tell you it's not. Because whilst any team can Super Break teams just aren't worth doing. And in fact, Super Break as a whole just isn't worth doing, in my opinion. And I know this because I've just spent the best half of, approaching on 3 hours now, doing a full comprehensive test on all the endgame modes and whatnot. And even before then, even before I fully had a Dahlia built, which thankfully now she is built. And that's not to mention E1. So Dahlia's thing is you have a dance partner, and that is just 2 characters, in most cases your DPS or Firefly, because let's be honest, more on that in a moment. But this just says it applies to all characters, right? I'm not crazy there. In fact, the more I think about it, Super Break only has one main DPS, really, and that's Firefly, because, and thankfully, with the return of 2 new characters, Fugue and Linksha, I say 2 new characters, the return of 2 characters, and this is what this video is trying to warn you of. It's, even though, yes, Super Break might look appealing right now, it looked appealing back then, it's not worth it. It's here for like a patch. And I can show this because, it's no longer leaked. We're getting Yao Guang and Sparksy, 2 Elation characters, and Elation is going to be pushed. Now, I can't show any gameplay or the leaked footage or beta stuff because I don't want to risk it. But let's just say, it's quite clear where their next attention is. And that is whatever the fuck Elation is doing. Which I'm not a big fan of, okay? I've seen the animations, I've seen the leagues. Not a fan of what Elation does, but it looks cool, I suppose. In fact, we've got another thing here. Actually, no, more of that in a moment. So Fugue's whole thing is you get a second toughness bar. The problem with that is if you don't break the second toughness bar, after you break the initial toughness bar, they both reset. Now, Fugue's whole thing is you deal more once you actually break the toughness bar. Same with Boot Hill. And now we're moving on to the point I was going to make before. Firefly is the only main Super Break DPS. You're probably thinking, what about Boot Hill? I've checked, he's not a Super Break DPS, he just does break damage with the scales off crit. To an extent. He scales off break damage, break effect, it becomes crit. You get the point. But what about Rapper? Rapper needs 2 things to be really good. Well, 3 things if you have Vidalia. Oh, well, now including Vidalia. So the first one, every enemy has to have imaginary weakness, so she can reduce the bar. Or failing that, Fugue, who says you can just ignore that. In fact, let me go get that up. So the allied target with Foxy Prey increases their break effect by 15% and can also reduce toughness even when attacking opponents that don't have the corresponding weakness type. Basically, they tried to make this a replacement for the Harmony MC, who increases break damage, or break effect, and can deal super break damage when the enemy is broken, because that's super break's whole purpose, and Firefly, who, whilst implanting a weakness on the main target, can still reduce the toughness bar of the two adjacent targets. And Rapper needs Fugue. I don't care if you're like, oh, you can do it without it. No, she needs Fugue if you want her to be functional in other endgame modes. That's just that's a fact. Otherwise, you're preying on one raw dog damaging it, which isn't going to work because she needs Super Break. That's her main, source of damage. Same as Firefly. But now Dahlia fixes that even more. And I say fixes, it fixes, but it reinforces that it was broken from the start, and it just wasn't a good idea. Now you're probably thinking, oh, but it's not the worst. No, it is. You could argue, well, what about Dot? Well, I'm glad you've asked. It's the same here. The same with Dot. We got buffs for Black Swan. Unfortunately, Dot was never meta to have fallen off. A lot of people have invested in it, I guess. Which is fine. Sure, let me add some more light in here real quick. Boom. Which is fine. In fact, they've even addressed... They did the same thing with Dot. They released Hysolins, which is basically Kafka 2. So now you have two Kafkas who can do stuff. But Kafka's still the premier because she can do it, on the follow-up attacks now, thanks to the buffs. There's a lot going against it. In fact, I dare say Harmony MC is the best MC purely because of the upkeep time on his ultimate. It never disappears. Even more so now with Dahlia. Because you're always, technically, I guess, weakness breaking. I need to test that a bit more. I didn't really keep track of it, but it doesn't matter whether it works or not. You're breaking so efficiently now in the break team. And in fact, let me go back to Fugue, because I've just remembered something that just further reinforces that Super Break doesn't work properly. They're trying to actively fight against Super Break. What does Super Break and, Fugue, Ruo Mei want you to do? They want you to break the enemy, to deal break damage, to convert break damage into super break damage. If we read the traces, I'm pretty sure it was this one. After allied target's break weakness, additionally delays the action of the enemy target by 15%. So you break it the first time, congrats, it is now, delayed action by 15%. Oh, you've broken the Foxy and Prayer toughness bar. Now it's 30%. Ruo Mei, and let's get Ruo Mei up actually. Ruo Mei's ult applies a zone, increases all type res pen by 25%. Obviously because I had it maxed out. And applies Thanatos Plum Rebloom. When these enemies attempt to recover from weakness break, Rebloom triggers, extending the weakness or extending the duration of their weakness break, delaying their action by an amount equal to 20% of Ruo Mei's break effect plus 10%. And it feels like it's like a back and forth. It feels like two different opposing things trying to clash together, and it's just not working. In fact, and I found this on Twitter before. Thankfully, huge shout out to Calpass. I'm gonna get it up here for you. Check this shit out.
Dreams of a... Let us dance once more.
You won't get away. You won't get away. You won't get away.
This is what your Super Break team is looking like, more or less.
You won't get away.
It's always Dahlia, Fugue. Those are two good ones. You can have either one. Ruo Mei's optional, sure. Look at that.
You won't get away.
And people will see this. And you might be seeing this now, you might be looking like, wow, that looks amazing, that's insane, look at the damage. Two things to remember. One, this is pure fiction. Now granted, Super Break is a lot of fun in pure fiction. I think it's entirely viable there. It's really fucking fun. I'd highly recommend it. In fact, I built Himiko because I saw this to try it out, and guess what? It's a fucking good time. And two, well, not even two, it's just the one. Pure fiction is really good. But I'm worried people will look at this and go, wow, must be good everywhere else, right? No. No, it's not. Because Himiko is not good. It's just that AoE units are good in pure fiction, so it gives that appearance of it. And I'm here to warn you, trying to be a good CC here. I'm trying to warn you of the danger of seeing something new, seeing something brand new, shiny, doing big damage, you're going, wow, I need that immediately. No, you don't. Because that's the nature of these games. They try and sell you something and move on, forget about it. Look at Dot. Dot needed way more. Dot needed a lot more than just Kafka 2. Dot in itself is another absolutely broken thing that doesn't work. It didn't need Hysolins. It needed a lot more. And we didn't get it. That's what we're doing now. 3.5, they said, okay, here's a Dot character. Here's the support. Cool. Are we getting anything else? No, that's it. Enjoy it. That's what's happening with Super Break. We got Dahlia. And maybe I'm wrong. They released like some 4-star options. Because that's another thing that's missing. Where's the 4-star Dahlia? Where's the 4-star Fugue? Because we have 4-star Gallagher. We have 4-star Gallagher in Linkshire. Actually, other way around, but you get a point, like, Gallagher's good. Because Super Break, or he's good in a Super Break team. Outside of it, I wouldn't recommend it. And that's really all I've got. I mean, maybe at the end of here, I include a little clip kind of showing you my Super Break team. But just don't fall for it, because it is not good. Especially with Elation on the line. Okay? Elation's coming, and that's all I can say, really. You got buffs here. Like Fugue and Linkshire. And look, you can see it, recommended lineups. You see how Rapper, this further reinforces it. Even HSR know, hey, you're going to need Fugue and Rapper together. I mean, Linkshire's kind of different because she's a sustainer. She can go on a lot of things. It's like this. Boot Hill becomes a Super Break character because of a Dahlia. But Boot Hill can only apply... Actually, no, saying that is wrong. I apologise. They both need to be in ult states. By both, I mean Firefly and Boot Hill. Both need to be in the or activate ultimates to implant their respective, element weakness. But it's just shit. It really is. Like, I don't know what else to say. I'm very disappointed because I want to like this game. I love this game, but I want to like it. And it's not a case of sunk cost fallacy either. We all know how, it started the whole Genshin could never. It was a good game. It was a good time. It was enjoyable. And you look at the state it's in now and you think, where the fuck did it all go wrong? I would argue Super Break. A lot of people said the same thing. It's like, wow, look at this absolutely fuck-busted thing. Can't wait to forget about it. And now look what they did. They forgot about it. And then we got the Chrysosairs, Amphorius, all that stuff. And they've just released a character to try and keep it relevant. But it's a character you need to spend money to get, most likely. Thankfully, I didn't. But I say thankfully because now I'm in the predicament. And this just further reinforces it. I am now in the predicament. I will show you my lineup, actually. I will show you. It's this. This is my lineup because I don't have Fugue. Otherwise, I'd replace the Trailblazer with Fugue. That way, I don't have to actually break the enemy. I can just do more. Like, it's a good alternative, sure. He's fine if you don't have it. This team will do stuff. But you need specifically this character to do anything. One character to save an archetype isn't enough. That's all I've got to say. I'm done ranting about it. I'm done being negative. I want to be positive. And it's hard to be positive when you get shit like this and people defending it. And it's just not worth defending. It really isn't. Jump through all the loopholes you want. Make all the leaps in logic you want to do. Super Break is a failure. There is no two ways around it. And that's all I've got to say about it. If you disagree, sure, you've disagreed with me. Great, congrats. But you can't sit there and recommend it to other people. If you recommend Super Break to, say, a new player or a returning player, you are just wrong. And you are admitting that you don't mind throwing money at a problem rather than getting a fix at its core problems. That's all I've got to say. It's the end of this video. We're going to end on a positive note. At least it's fun in pure fiction. But that's really the only positive I've got. If you agree, disagree, doesn't matter, like, comment, subscribe. Road to 1,000 subs. This is the first HSR video I've made in a while, and it fucking sucks. but it's had to be one filled or just covering this negative topic. It makes me sad.